Yeah. Hi, everyone. Last talk, standing between you and cocktails. Thank you, Imran, and thank you to the Business of Fashion for inviting me today. And thank you to each of you for showing up open and maybe a little curious, perhaps asking yourself, higher self, what exactly am I in for today? Well, if that question is lingering inside you, that's wonderful, because that question alone is a sign that somewhere deep within, an ethereal self is beginning to stir. Your higher self, in hearing its name, is knocking at the walls within. It's saying, pay attention. She's talking about me. So here you are, and here I am, a very unlikely guide, not a monk, not a guru, a daughter of Iranian immigrants whose parents fled a revolution to ensure my survival. And carrying their sacrifices within me, I thrust myself into corporate America. And I did that to prove to them that their courage was worth it. I became a PR strategist who, after nearly 20 years in the trenches of crisis management, found myself at the very top of my game. I was dedicated to consulting Fortune 500 CEOs, their organizations, and public figures on how to navigate their way out of a crisis. So basically, I was the one that ran into the fire that other people created as they were running out. And I did that until I eventually exhausted myself. And from that exhaustion, what felt at the time like a really unruly voice within started asking, what are you doing? Are you part of the problem, or are you part of the solution? You see, after nearly 2 decades of crafting strategies to help people at best take accountability and at worst perform a form of public attrition, I began to wonder, why do we find ourselves in these crises to begin with? And more importantly, why, when we are handed the opportunity to lead, can we sometimes fail ourselves and each other? Here's what I discovered in answer to that question. We humans don't fundamentally trust ourselves. And from this place of mistrust, we hide our truth, we reject our vulnerability, and we act from a contracted place of fear, seeking validation as a form of protection. Now, we don't do this because we are inherently flawed. No, we do this because we are taught not to trust ourselves. From the moment we sense the thoughts and feelings of those who often hold our safety in their hands, we learn that to earn love, we have to fit a mold. And by the way, our caregivers, they did the same before us. For thousands of years, we've been operating in a culture of conformity. We've been taught to be civilized, to follow rules designed by others, and most importantly, to doubt our own inner knowing. We all know the reasons why: colonialism, capitalism, systems that thrive on us fitting into tiny, prefabricated boxes. These systems condition us to go with the herd, to contort and shapeshift, to assimilate, to agree, to smile and nod, to make life easier for other people. And so, generation after generation, we perform this obedience first as survival and then as normalcy. And it becomes a trance. It's something that disconnects us from an entire other self within, a magnificent, conscious, intuitive, true self that is pulsing deep inside each of us, demanding to be set free. So, having diagnosed that as the little problem, and knowing that I had the knowledge that I held the antidote, I walked away from my well-respected role as head of global strategy at the world's largest independent PR firm. And I decided to become an intuitive life and leadership coach, which basically means I still do crisis management. But instead of crafting scripted apologies, I guide people through their moments of personal and professional crisis, helping them emerge with a renewed sense of truth and purpose. I like to call this alchemizing crisis into calling. But this kind of alchemy, it requires us to believe in a version of ourselves that is whole, a version that's connected to deep wisdom, dignity, and consciousness, a version that is infinitely larger than what we let the world see. And to truly believe that we have a calling, we have to believe on some level that we are inherently divine. This version I'm asking you all to believe in today, this is your higher self. Your higher self is your soul's guide. It is the deepest, most dignified part of you. It's the voice that gently pulls you towards your dreams. It's your calmest, most secure essence, and it has been your lighthouse, guiding you through life's storms towards the best version of you over and over again. It's who you are when you are completely free to be you without condition, without fear, without limitation. And it is always guiding you through your intuition. And you hear that intuition most clearly when you're unburdened by the fear, doubt, and the limitations that are imposed on you by the world. You know, all those generational conditioning that we just talked about. This takes some work. Embodying your higher self means really making decisions from that intuitive clarity. And that is a daily practice of turning down the white noise of all that fear and limitation, all of that contraction. And it's about tuning into your intuitive wisdom so that you can make decisions that are aligned to that profound inner knowing. But how do we do this? How do we live as our higher selves in a world that celebrates fear as vigilance? A world that convinces us that others know better than we do, that status is power, that to belong, we must contort ourselves to fit in. Well, first, you remember who you are. Take a moment, stop right now in this moment, and just recognize the feeling that's stirring within you as I speak the name higher self, as I remind you of this self. Feel it. Where does it resonate in your body? Register this feeling. This is the reminder of who you truly are. Now I want you to ask yourself, what becomes possible from this place? When I trust my inner wisdom without judgment, what might I do differently? When I dignify myself by speaking my truth instead of seeking validation, how might my life transform? And if I lead from a place of abundant possibility, knowing that my higher self trusts in enough for all, what kind of empathy might I bring into the world? How might I treat myself differently? How might I relate to others? You know, in my higher self workshops that I teach with teams, I teach a simple reminder, which is to embody your higher self every time you feel the urge to shrink. This embodiment of dignity, of taking up space, this is the shape of your higher self. So let's do it together now. Take your awareness to the base of your spine and imagine tracing that up through your back, all the way to the top of your neck, to your head. And now imagine an invisible string just pulling your head up. Feel your body rise, shoulders relaxing, chest opening. This is the embodiment of dignity. Bold, big, unapologetic. What becomes possible in this form? Do you feel a stronger sense of self-worth? Do you feel a reminder of your needs, your desires, your boundaries? Not only is it possible, but as you embody this dignity, it also empowers it in others. In this shape, is there more room for compassion within you? Is there room for empathy? Is it possible to take care of your needs and of others? From this embodiment of your higher self, you are more likely to hear its wisdom resonate with newfound clarity. And as you release the grip of doubt and shed the constraints of those limiting beliefs, you quiet that white noise and you amplify the voice of your intuition. And you'll begin to distinguish the difference between the tight, constricting feeling of fear-driven thoughts, who can relate, that chest compression, that tightness, and the expansive, grounded calm that emerges when your intuition is speaking. I often tell people to envision their intuition as a crystal clear pond at the very base of their being. So just indulge me. Take a moment with me now and close your eyes and just take a really deep breath in. Now imagine that you see a beautiful pool of crystal clear water. And in this serene pool that is starting to come together at the very base of your stomach, allow your consciousness to register that this pool holds every question, holds every answer. Feel its clarity. Feel its wisdom. Feel that calm knowing. This is what listening to your intuition feels like. The information is clear and calm, and it comes through without any emotion. It's just there. So the next time you face a decision, especially a challenging one, I want you to remember to seek out this feeling rather than the anxious projections of the thoughts that make you feel small or afraid. This matters more than ever. Embodying your higher self and honoring your intuition deeply matters. It matters for your journey because it allows you to break free from the confines of playing small and step boldly into your truth. It matters for the people you love because you grant them permission to rise to their own truth. And it matters for the world beyond your inner circle. We are living through a time that often feels insurmountably divided. In a moment when the voice of doubt and division grows louder, we cannot afford to yield to it. We cannot buy into the darkness we've been taught to see in others. The only way we can dispel this false illusion is by remembering our own light and by radiating it with courage and compassion and unwavering purpose. Now, I'm really happy to share that I've brought a little gift to help you to do that. I've written a book that serves as a roadmap for rediscovering your dignified higher self and tapping into your intuition. It's called Higher Self, Reclaiming the Power of Your Intuition. And while it doesn't come out till March, the beautiful people at HarperCollins printed you all advanced reader copies, and those are in your rooms. And what I'm hoping is that this will serve as a reminder to you and that you'll share it with your loved ones so that they can learn how to embody this dignity too. Now, before we part ways, I want to invite you to fully embody your higher self and create a lasting memory of this moment that captures the essence of who you truly are. So the wonderful team at BOF just handed out some paper and envelopes. For those of you that are at home, pull out a piece of paper, please. And while you're still immersed in the glow of your dignified, intuitive higher self, I want you to take a minute to write a letter from your higher self to your future self. Focus on something you deeply desire, something that resonates with your heart, and let your higher self remind you of who you are, of your power, and of the path that you're gonna take from your higher self to bring this vision to life. And please self-address the envelopes because the wonderful team at BOF is gonna collect your letters And at just the right moment, you are going to receive them. And the timing of this arrival has its own magic to it. So take a moment now, those of you that are at home, take a moment, and we're going to give you 5 minutes to write this letter. Those of you that are here, self-address your envelope. Those of you at home, hide it somewhere and write a letter from higher self. Listen, when you get the letter, it's going to make sense. So I hope that you did take advantage of the opportunity to write this beautiful letter to yourself. And I just want to, before I let you go, I just want you to take one last deep breath. I want you to channel this feeling of embodying this dignified, all-knowing being that is you. And I want you to walk out into the world and be a reminder of this dignity. I want you to let that light that is within you shine, because we all need the frequency of each of your higher selves more than ever. Thank you.